How's it going, everybody? KCG Trades here, back with another weekly watch list and stock market outlook video. Just to give you guys a little update on myself, last week was probably my worst week of trading in 2021. And that's weird because, as you see on my screen, the markets, Nasdaq composite is at all-time highs. But for myself, I probably had the worst week of 2021, like I mentioned. Not to say I blew up my account or anything like that, because I didn't. I also didn't even have any significant losses. I did take multiple losses, but nothing extreme. I am on a losing streak, and I definitely understand the market works. And having a system, you do go through drawdowns, you do go through losing streaks, but it definitely does affect you mentally. It affects your body, affects your mental. You even get more fatigued. So that's all the things I'm kind of going through right now. Especially makes it even worse when I see the Nasdaq, S&P going into all-time highs, the Dow Jones about to break out into new highs, while I'm struggling to even make a little profit right now. So that's just the past week. So I did take about Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday to just take a little break from the markets, take a break from the screens, basically just recover and get my mental right. And I feel like I'm back. I'm ready. I'm re-energized once again. I'm ready to attack the markets. So yeah, I'm excited, even though the markets are showing signs of a possible pullback coming. So we might be in for some down days in the next coming days, possibly weeks. I am prepared for any outcome. We are in new all-time highs, and we did just break out into new breakout out of a multi-month consolidation. So we could continue this trend for quite some time. I don't know. I'm prepared for everything. So this was just my little message to whoever's watching, to make sure that you don't get discouraged when things don't go your way. Make sure to always take time for yourself, reflect, go through past trades on why you made those trades, what happened to them, what you did well, what you did wrong, because that's essentially what I did the past few days. And now I'm ready to get back on track and feel connected with the market, because right now I feel a little bit disconnected, especially with how growth stocks are acting. But overall, let's just get right into it, starting with the Nasdaq composite. Like I mentioned, in all-time highs, but we are increasing on lower volume, so that is a bit of a concern. Other than that, we are a little bit extended from the 10 EMA, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little pullback. I actually would like that, so things can just get a little reset. We do have a lot of things extended right now. Growth names like DocuSign, NVDA, Cloudflare, they all seem to be starting to create a handle here after its strong run up. I'll just give you reference. DocuSign after a strong run up, starting to handle here. Net starting to handle here. NVIDIA is a large cap name that's been doing very strong, so it actually hasn't been showing any signs of handles yet, but it may be due for one soon after going from 540 all the way to 820. So growth names are starting to basically pull back, create a handle here. Large cap names are starting to do very well. We got the Amazons, Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, those names doing very well. We also have oil names doing well. So a lot of names outside of growth are doing well, but there's a huge disconnect in the market because as you see, markets at all-time highs. Like I mentioned with the Nasdaq composite, there's a lot of industries, a lot of sectors doing very poorly right now. So that's what makes it a bit hard. There's a bit of a struggle there. Even if we take a look at the S&P, all-time highs, continuous days of green. We are very extended from the 10 and 21 EMA, so a pullback is probably due soon. I'm not going to be surprised if it happens, like I mentioned, and we are increasing on lower volume, so it's another sign of concern. If we take a look at the Dow Jones, it's starting to break out of this consolidation here. Got a little peak above it on Friday, and it looks to be strong, but it is a bit extended as well, like all the indexes right now. But however, if we take a look at the IBD 50, we see here the disconnect. We are still in chop zone, up and down, no real movement, no real trend, just in a consolidation. And the past 3 days have been pretty weak, and on Friday we had on strong volume as well a breakdown below its moving averages and closed below it. So there is some concern here for growth stocks for IBD 50. If we take a look at the IWO, which is the Russell 2000 Growth ETF, we got rejected by this breakout level and had essentially a bearish engulfing candle on higher volume than Thursday. So there is some concern there. This is all different than what we're seeing in the major indexes, the S&P, the Nasdaq, which is why there's a lot of trouble right now, especially for me. If you take a look at the IWM, same thing here. We had a bullish engulfing on Friday on higher volume, right near the highs of this consolidation. And even if we take a look at the VIX, We are continuing lower, chugging lower, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a big spike soon, which will coincide with a pullback in the markets. And it would be very nice if we could see the indexes pull back into the moving averages while growth stocks continue to form out these handles, so that they could both go back up in coordination. They could do it at the same time. That would be perfect to continue this trend. So that's really essentially what I'm looking at for the markets this week. Not really looking at much in terms of stocks, just want to see how the markets play out. But obviously I do have names on my watch list that I'm always keeping an eye on. I do have about 7-8 names on my list, and let's just get right into it, starting with Amazon. So Amazon's a large cap name that has been doing extremely well as of late. Take a look at the daily charts, just been holding that 10 EMA for the past couple of weeks. Had a very strong day on Friday on strong volume, and if we take a look at the weekly chart, this looks even better. After basing for quite some time, after the March lows, it just ripped higher, and ever since July of 2020, it's just been consolidating, going sideways for the past year. But now it's starting to get really tight and looks to be ready to go. As we all know, the bigger the base, the bigger the breakout. So 1 year base is poised for a strong breakout. If we take a look at the past 3 weeks action, the action is getting very tight above the 10-week moving average. And last week we did have an inside week on lower volume. So what I'm essentially looking for is a break above this handle here, above the 3523 level. And if we do so, I would not be surprised to get above the 3554 all-time high level. Obviously, we want to see a strong volume be accompanied by it. But we all know how strong Amazon is, how great of a company this is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this in 4,000, 5,000 zones in the near future. However, if the market does pull back, I will watch to see how this acts. If it could continue with its strength, staying above the moving averages while the markets pull back, that would be great signs that it's ready to rip once the market shows signs of strength again. But if it doesn't pull back, then I wouldn't be surprised to see this go right away. Like I said, I'm open to all options. I'm not here to predict. I'm here to analyze. So whatever the market does, I'll be ready for. And Amazon is definitely one I'm going to be watching. So the next stock I'm watching is CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike is one of the growth names that are starting to form a handle here. If we take a look, it has a nice basing pattern here. If we take a look at the weekly chart, it has a nice cup action here and it's starting to form a handle. On the daily chart, it looks just as good after breaking out of this little double bottom pivot here, just continued higher. It was a bit extended as it got into all-time highs, but it finally let the 10 EMA catch up to price, which is great to see. It undercut the 10 EMA and closed back above it. And the past few weeks have been just on lower volume as it continues to consolidate and digest its gains. So essentially what I'm looking for is a break above this 257 level on good volume and close above it. As we see here, it's had 7 rejections of the 257 level, always closed below it. So I want to see it close above that 257 level on good volume, and I also want to see it get above that 260 level to be into all-time highs. That's really what I'm watching for with Crowd. Hoping we could get it soon. Hopefully we could get a quick pullback in the markets where it just gets a quick reset and Crowd gets ready to run. But that's definitely what I'm watching with this stock. And the next stock I'm watching is FUTU. So FUTU is one I'm always consistently watching after its strong run up here. I know what it's capable of, but the fact that it has amazing fundamentals as well is why this is always on my radar. If we take a look at the chart here, it just broke out of this little pivot here on good volume, and it's just been pulling back the past 2 days. It did find support off the 21 EMA, also coinciding with this retest of this pivot point. So I want to see if this 21 EMA level can hold. That would be very, very bullish for this stock if it could continue to do so. If it could bounce off this level and can continue higher, that's really what I'm going to be watching for. I'm going to see if it could retest that 21 EMA one more time. And if it does, we'll know our risk point. If that'll be our stop, will be just right below it. So it'd be a very low risk entry for a possible continued move higher. So that's really what I'm watching for with FUTU. And the next stock I'm watching is Peloton. So Peloton is really starting to intrigue me as of late. If you take a look at the chart here, after undercutting this low, like I mentioned last week, kind of had that capitulation type move, as you see on very strong volume. It just continued to chug along higher, and ever since, it's been showing signs of it being a very strong stock. If we take a look here, it moves up on strong volume, and then once it slows down and pulls back, it does it on very low volume, finds support at the moving average, just continues to consolidate after finding support at the moving averages, breaks out on strong volume, continues higher, and then when it pulls back, it continues on lower volume. So these are all signs that, you know, the stock wants to continue higher. Not many people are selling, and this stock is ready for a new uptrend. So if we take a look here, it did actually break out of this little pivot zone here, and the past few days has just been pulling back. It was a little bit extended, so the price caught up to the moving averages. Sorry, the moving averages caught up back to price, and now we found support off the 10 EMA, 10 exponential moving average, and now we are starting to create this little small flag here. So essentially I want to see a breakout above this little downtrend line here on strong volume. It would also coincide with breaking above this pivot zone. If we do so, because we are back above all the moving averages, I do see a long runway of strength ahead. If we get back above this 130 level, get back above this 128 level, there's a lot of room to run to get to those 140 level, 150, 160, 170. There is a lot of overhead resistance, but I feel like if it could get through this level first, there's a lot of room to run in the near future. So that's really what I'm watching for with Peloton. And the next stock I'm watching is Shopify. Shopify's chart is starting to look very strong after undercutting its prior base. It's starting to base nicely here, creating this sort of cup pattern. In the past few weeks have been starting to form a bit of a handle. It was a little bit extended after having a strong move from the 1242 zones all the way to 1550s. It's starting to pull back, letting the moving averages catch up to price. And now the past four times it has bounced off the 10 EMA, so this is good to see. Right now we're just starting to create a handle, have this bull flag starting to form on the daily chart. So essentially I want to see a break above this downtrend line on strong volume, and I do believe it is ready to run. Shopify is an amazing stock, amazing company, very strong as well. So I want to see it get back into all-time highs and create this strong move for the next run up. That's really what I'm watching for with Shopify. Very simple. This is definitely one to watch. The next stock I'm watching is Snapchat. So Snapchat is another stock that looks ready to run. It has been consolidating for about 6-7 months now, and it does look ready to run like I mentioned. I do have my alert set here if you could take a look at the 69.50 level. That is the level I'm watching to see if it could get above it on strong volume. For the past week and a half, it's just kind of been going sideways, consolidating here. It did bounce and retest this little double bottom pivot zone here. Retested, bounced nicely and started to continue higher. Friday we did have an inside day, so I'm ready to see if it could get above that 69.50 level on strong volume, because if it does, it will hit all-time highs in a matter of time. This does look ready after basing for 6-7 months like I mentioned. So as long as the market can cooperate, as long as other growth stocks can cooperate with this should be in all-time highs very, very soon. So that's what I'm watching for with Snapchat. And the next stock I'm watching is TTD, the trade desk. So TTD is definitely one on my radar after its strong move for the past couple of weeks. After breaking out nicely above this downtrend line here on tremendous volume, it's just been chugging along higher and pulling back on very, very low volume. If we take a look here, it is respecting its high volume close around the 75.96 level, and you see the past 5 days it's just been respecting that level ever since, maybe undercutting a little bit but never closing back below it, so that's great to see. Past 3 days have been on extremely low volume as it pulls back, so I do believe this is ready to rip once again. I do believe it is still a little bit extended for now, as it is still a little far from the 10 EMA, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more days of consolidation, a few more days of sideways action until the moving average can catch up to price. But once it does catch up to price, I do believe this is going to rip after respecting its high volume close, which is amazing to see, especially with the huge volume that came in on this June 24th day. I think it is just setting up basically the calm before the storm for it to essentially run up again. So that's really what I'm watching for with TTD. Keep your eye on this one for sure. And the last stock I'm watching for the week is UPWK, Upwork. All right, so Upwork is another one that's just starting to create a handle here. They're breaking out of this little pivot here on very strong volume, just been chugging higher, got a little bit extended, so it's kind of creating this handle here. Bounced off the 10 EMA nicely, so essentially I'm just waiting for some more sideways action, maybe another retest of the 10 EMA, create a nice handle so we could get a nice little pivot to get back above it, and I will be watching to get above this little 59.60 level on strong volume, and if we do that, we will definitely get into all-time highs very soon. Has a nice base going on here. If we take a look at the weekly chart, it's been basing for over 6 months, has this nice little cup pattern here, so we may be in for a bit of a handle. Let the 10 week catch up to price, maybe get some sort of handle here. If we do so, that'd be very strong, but we could also just maybe go sideways for one more week and then rip. Like I said, I'm not in the prediction business. I'm here to analyze and interpret. So I want to see how this acts, but this is definitely very strong as of late. Has good liquidity. So one to definitely keep your eye on. So that sums up my weekly watch list. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you have not liked this video, please hit that like button. I also want you guys to comment 3 stocks you're watching this week. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. To all my Americans, hope you guys have a wonderful July 4th weekend. To all my Canadians, hope you guys had a beautiful long weekend. And everyone international watching this video, I want to thank you for the support, as well as hope you guys are killing the markets. Take care. Have a good one.